Today our topic is the most inspirational Stoic stories from history. Stoicism is an ancient philosophy that teaches us how to live a good life by focusing on what we can control and letting go of what we cannot. It is not about being emotionless, but about finding strength and calm in difficult situations. Many great people in history have used Stoic principles to face challenges, and their stories can inspire us to live better lives. Let's look at some of these stories and learn from them. One of the most famous Stoics was Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who ruled during a time of war and crisis. Even though he was the most powerful man in the world, he faced many difficulties, such as battles, plagues, and betrayal. Instead of letting these problems break him, he used Stoicism to stay calm and focused. He wrote a book called Meditations, which was his personal diary. In it, he reminded himself to stay humble, to do his duty, and to accept whatever life brought him. He believed that we cannot control what happens to us, but we can control how we react. For example, when his army was struggling in battle, he did not panic or blame others. Instead, he stayed calm and made wise decisions. Marcus Aurelius shows us that even in the toughest times we can find peace by focusing on our own actions and attitudes. Another inspiring Stoic story is about Epictetus, a philosopher who was born as a slave. Despite his difficult life, Epictetus believed that no one could take away his freedom to think and choose. He taught that our happiness does not depend on what happens to us, but on how we see the world. For example, if someone insults us, we can choose to ignore it or to see it as a chance to practice patience. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This idea is very powerful because it means that we always have control over our own minds. Even when life is hard, we can choose to stay strong and positive. Epictetus' life reminds us that no matter where we start, we can rise above our circumstances with the right mindset. Seneca, another great Stoic, was a writer and advisor to the Roman Emperor Nero. Seneca faced many dangers because Nero was a cruel and unpredictable ruler. Despite this, Seneca stayed true to his Stoic beliefs. He wrote about the importance of living a simple life and not being attached to material things. He believed that true happiness comes from within, not from wealth or power. Seneca also faced death with courage. When Nero ordered him to kill himself, Seneca did not resist. He accepted his fate calmly and spent his last moments talking to his friends about philosophy. His story teaches us that we should not fear death or cling to things that are not important. Instead, we should focus on living a meaningful life and helping others. Another inspiring figure is Cato the Younger, a Roman politician who stood up for his principles even when it cost him everything. Cato believed in justice and freedom, and he opposed Julius Caesar, who wanted to become a dictator. Cato knew that he might lose his life, but he chose to fight for what he believed in. When Caesar won the civil war, Cato refused to surrender. Instead, he chose to end his own life rather than live under a tyrant. Cato's story shows us the importance of standing up for our values, even when it is difficult. It reminds us that sometimes the right path is not the easy one, but it is still worth following. Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, also has an inspiring story. Before he became a philosopher, Zeno was a merchant who lost everything in a shipwreck. Instead of giving up, he turned to philosophy and started teaching others how to live a good life. Zeno believed that we should focus on what we can control and not waste energy on things we cannot change. His story teaches us that even when life takes away everything we have, we can still rebuild and find a new purpose. Zeno's teachings remind us that failure is not the end. It is an opportunity to grow and learn. These stories from history show us the power of Stoicism. They teach us that life will always have challenges, but we can face them with strength and calm. The Stoics believed in focusing on what we can control, such as our thoughts, actions, and attitudes. They also believed in accepting what we cannot control, such as other people's opinions or events in the world. By doing this, we can find peace and happiness, no matter what happens. Stoicism also teaches us to live in the present moment. The past is gone, and the future is uncertain, so the only time we have is now. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This means that we should not waste time worrying about things we cannot change. Instead, we should focus on doing our best in the present moment. For example, if we have a difficult task, we should not think about how hard it is or what might go wrong. Instead, we should focus on taking one step at a time and doing our best. Another important Stoic idea is to practice gratitude. The Stoics believe that we should be thankful for what we have, even if it is not much. They knew that wanting more and more can make us unhappy. Seneca wrote, "It's not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." This means that true wealth is not about having a lot of things, but about being content with what we have. For example, if we have food, shelter, and friends, we should be grateful for these things instead of always wanting more. Practicing gratitude can help us feel happier and more satisfied with our lives. Stoicism also teaches us to be kind and helpful to others. The Stoics believe that we are all part of a larger community, and we should work together to make the world a better place. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What is not good for the hive is not good for the bee." This means that we should think about how our actions affect others. For example, if we are kind and generous, we can help others and make the world a better place. On the other hand, if we are selfish and cruel, we harm others and ourselves. The Stoics believe that living a good life means being a good person and helping others whenever we can. In conclusion, the stories of Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, Cato, and Zeno show us the power of Stoicism. They teach us to focus on what we can control, to accept what we cannot control, and to live in the present moment. They remind us to be grateful for what we have, to stand up for our values, and to be kind to others. These lessons are just as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago. Life will always have challenges, but by following Stoic principles, we can find strength, peace, and happiness. Let these stories inspire you to live a better life and to face your own challenges with courage and calm. Remember, you have the power to choose how you react to whatever life brings. Use that power wisely